Yo, what's up? Dallas Cowboys State of the Union back at it again with another video. And today we want to talk about a little bit about free agency. We haven't really tackled free agency yet on this channel, but because the league year is coming up pretty soon, I believe March 13th, if I'm not mistaken, and the fact that the Cowboys have 2 days to basically work out a deal with Tank Lawrence today and tomorrow before they have to ultimately franchise tag him so nobody else can make a bid for him. We want to talk a little bit about what are our needs and what we would like to see them go after in free agency. Now, this year is very different for the Cowboys because this is one of the first years in a very long time they've had cap space, and not just mediocre cap space, actually some cap space where you could go out there and maybe get a player or two in free agency and they could take your team to the next level.
Earl Thomas.
Yes, a lot of people's already talking about Earl Thomas. Hopefully they work that deal out. Reports are saying that at first he wanted $13 million. The next report say he wanted upwards of $15 million because he wants to be the highest paid safety in the NFL history and things of that nature. So how do you feel about that situation? Do you feel like the Cowboys are going to get that done?
I look at it this way: is I never pay attention to reports that say per agent, because majority of the time per agents they're trying to. That's normally the starting bid. It's like, okay, he said he wants 13 million or 15 million. That's normally the starting bid, and they'll work their way down.
Right.
Also, the agent gets a percentage of whatever contract that player signs.
Exactly. I believe 6% to
7%. So if the higher his contract is, the more percentage he'll get, even at 6%. So I'm not worried about he wants to be the highest paid safety in the league. I look at it this way: his market is going to drop if he's still on the market after week 3.
Right.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
But it can happen where he's still on the market within week 3 and his price all of a sudden goes from 15 million to 10. And if it goes to 10 million, that's more than reasonable range for the Cowboys to sign him.
Well,
and they can also add incentives on top of that.
Well, I would say this. I don't think that he's going to be available by week 3 because there are teams with a lot of cap space, i.e. the 49ers. Who knows if the Colts want to make a run at him. They got a lot of cap space. So it's a lot of teams that got a lot of cap space that could be willing to, hey, let's go ahead and drop the bag and give him what he wants. But we all know Earl Thomas wants to be in Dallas. He grew up in Texas, a diehard Cowboys fan. I mean, I even heard a story, I don't know how true this is, but they were saying when he was playing with Seattle, after he'll get done playing a game with the Seahawks or whatever, he'll go to his phone to see exactly what was the score with the Cowboys.
Exactly.
So, that's a true diehard fan, because when you become an athlete, in those moments you have to kind of give up your fandom that you had as a child or whatnot.
Right.
And the fact that he was like, listen, I still,
right.
I'm still a fan, even though I'm playing for another team.
Seattle,
that's amazing. But I'll say it's like this. Honestly, I would love to give Earl Thomas a long-term deal as far as maybe about 3 years. I think that 15 million sounds amazing, but you got to look at what other teams are willing to give him, because he's got to look at it like this. Yeah, a team may give you 15 or 17 million for 1 year, but who's going to give you a long-term deal?
And at the end of the day, he wants that. Sorry to cut you off, but at the end of the day, he wants that security.
Yeah, and so I look at it like this. If I'm the Cowboys, I will roughly come in with a 3-year, 27 million deal, maybe with 20 million guaranteed or whatever, and then I will add some incentives to allow him to make anywhere upwards of 10 million more off of that contract. Like maybe if you get 5 interceptions on the season,
right.
If you get this many forced fumbles, this many tackles or whatever, and I'll give him incentives to kind of raise that bar, and hopefully he can make 37 million off that contract in his longevity.
Also, we can't rule out the possibility that the Cowboys might actually give him what he wants, considering that they was going to trade significant draft capital
for him
last year, a second round draft pick to get Earl Thomas. They tried to trade for him within the season, and even though he broke his leg for the second year in a row, there's still interest there. I'm inclined to believe if they was willing to give up significant draft capital,
they'll give him what he wants.
They're going to throw money at him. And I also look at last year, which has completely nothing to do with Earl Thomas, but they was willing to give $16 million a year to Sammy Watkins when they was trying to replace Dez. So it just depends on what they're comfortable with and the player they're comfortable with giving a big contract to.
Well, I will say this, too. It's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of people say, oh, we still have to pay Dez. I mean, not Dez. We still have to pay Dak. We still have to pay Zeke, Amari Cooper, Byron Jones, Jalen Smith out the next season. He's going to be up for it. I look at it like this. First of all, Stephen Jones has become amazing with the cap. We have about, I want to say right now, about 50 or 60 million in cap space right now. But also what they can do is it's a lot of clauses on a lot of these contracts that they've signed, i.e. the Zach Martin contracts and the Travis Frederick contracts and even the Tyrone Crawford contracts, where they can basically write them a check right then and there and backload the rest of that money, and basically give them a signing bonus right there, and it doesn't go against the cap. A lot of people don't know that there's a lot of ways to get money, and there's a lot of ways this team can get money with players that is already signed, and even if they get rid of a few players or reduce a few pays
or restructuring contracts where they kick the can down the road, and they just prioritize that money to, like you said, a signing bonus.
So you look at those situations, coupled with the fact that they're going to have over $100 million in cap space next year, and coupled with the fact that the salary cap is rising every single year. So they know that there's going to be money in the long-term future to keep these guys, like, for instance, Zeke Elliott, Amari Cooper, things of those natures. But if we want to talk about, we want to come and talk about top free agency needs. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say Tank is number one. Go ahead and get him squared away. Hopefully they get the deal squared away today or tomorrow. That way we don't have to franchise tag him, because you really don't want to go into the season with that that weighing over your shoulder, trying to get that figured out. And especially since he's saying he doesn't want to play on a franchise tag, which I think if they did franchise tag him, it's just more to buy time versus.
And I say get ready for that, because it's really unlikely of a chance that they'll get to an agreement by March 5th. So if they do franchise tag him, it's not for long. That they're going to franchise tag him in hopes of coming to a long-term agreement. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Also, I think that Cole Beasley is another person. The Cowboys are adamant about wanting to bring him back. I do believe that they're going to work out a deal with him. I would love for them, to kind of meet him in the middle. But Cole Beasley, this is my only thing with Cole Beasley. I would love to have Cole Beasley back, but Cole Beasley has to understand you have to play your role. I think, in my personal opinion, I believe that, the 2016 season with Dak, where Cole Beasley had arguably his best season of his career, he got a little, I think he thought a little bit highly of himself, and didn't think about the fact that, hey, at the end of the day, you have to play your role in this offense. Also,
with Cole Beasley, his desire is to get $20 million guaranteed.
Right.
And so if you're looking at that, is Cole Beasley, is he good? Is he a good slot receiver? Yes, he is. He can move the chains. He's quick in and out of his breaks. But I don't think you're going to give $20 million guaranteed to a slot receiver. You're more inclined to give $20 million guaranteed to Amari Cooper.
Yeah. Again, I'd love to see him stay, but if they don't work out the deal with him, then hey, next man up. I also would like to see them potentially bring back Tavon Austin. I think that with under the new regime of Kellen Moore, hopefully they can add some more explosive plays with Tavon Austin. And because Tavon Austin doing his rookie deal or whatever, he hasn't really showed, had that breakout year. So I think they can get him for very cheap. I think that you bring him back, you got speed, and then you can add in a few gadget plays with Tavon Austin. I would even honestly like to see them bring back Damian Wilson at a decent contract.
Right. I look at it this way: if I'm counting down top five, is I'm gonna start from the bottom. Byron Jones for me is at number 5, and the reason why I put him down at the bottom is because they can afford. They got the 5th-year option, so they can afford to wait. They can afford to treat him like Tank. And let's say you do this another year, right, because this has been his one full year.
Exactly. And
He's only had one full season at cornerback. So I'm good with that, waiting on him. Number 4, Amari Cooper.
Yes.
I don't think people realize the importance of having a number 1 wide receiver in a scheme like this. Now, the scheme can change, but Amari Cooper, he's a great route runner. He gets in and out of his break. He has breakaway speed. He threatens the defense at all 3 levels. Right. And so when you have a number 1 wide receiver who is capable of that, he becomes a huge priority. Number 3, Zeke. And this is going to be a little controversial for people who don't like, Dak. But
well, do you believe that? Because keep in mind, a lot of the guys you're mentioning, we have a little bit of time to work out deals with them. So, do you believe that they're the top 8 free agency needs, even though they're not free agents?
I believe so too, because with Zeke is Stephen Jones has already come out and said, "Look, we're gonna look at the Todd Gurley contract." And then we're gonna start from there. Yeah. Zeke is your bell cow. He's your elite franchise running back.
And honestly, you would love to throw some money at him now and versus that, because he's not going to be too inclined to, again, like it's one of those things. When you're on a rookie deal and then they throw an extra 40, 50 million at you, all of a sudden you're not thinking about getting that extra 10 or extra 15 million. You're thinking about, I got extra money now, so let me go on ahead and take that. So I do agree with you on that.
So yeah, it's better to get him locked up.
Yeah,
now
because
rather than later.
He's been the leading rusher 2 out of 3 of his seasons.
It would have been 3 full seasons had he not got suspended. He had 987 rushing yards. He was 20 yards away from another 1,000 yard season. So you pay that man. Yeah. And the reason you mentioned about signing a personnel is the reason why Dak is number 2 on my list. The quarterback is the most important position on the field besides O-line. And the numbers don't lie for Dak. He's 32-16 over his first 3 seasons of his career. The only quarterback to have more wins than him is Tom Brady. Yes. He has 18, 19 rushing TDs coming into the league. And the numbers speak for himself. You know what I'm saying? He's a franchise quarterback in my honest opinion. And the same reason for Zeke is the same reason for Dak. You want to get him locked up now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And my number 1 free agent, Tank Lawrence. You don't let elite pass rushers hit the open market. Once they hit the open market, they're about as good as it's gone. And considering with Randy Gregory been indefinitely suspended for who knows how long, and David Irvin, they're not expected to bring him back. Yeah. If you lose Tank Lawrence, which I don't think they will, but God forbid if they do lose Tank Lawrence,
you're losing a pivotal piece on the defense.
You losing that war that Jerry talked about, and you're stuck with guys like Taco Charlton, who up to this point has underachieved, and Dorrance Armstrong, who I still think needs some development. Yeah. So that's Tank Lawrence to me is the top priority.
I mean, hey, he did what you wanted him to do. He put together 2 double-digit sack seasons. One thing a lot of people don't realize, he played hurt all season long.
Exactly.
When a guy is like, I'm willing to stay on the field and play hurt for you, you got to go on ahead and give him the money. So I think I do believe that they'll work out a deal before Wednesday. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Again, we're recording this on Monday, so they got today and they got tomorrow to figure something out. But I think that they will get something figured out so they don't have to franchise tag him. But yeah, I agree with your assessment as well. I will say this too. There's some other people that I want to see this season alone really show up. I believe that Jalen Smith is for real. I would love to potentially give him a contract this year, or try to figure out an extension with him, because I would hate for him to go into next offseason worrying about if we can keep him or not. So I would love to see him, but I would love to see him do a little bit more on the field, because I think he is that guy. And again, like you said with Byron Jones, I would like to see Byron Jones put together another stellar season, and then hopefully we see what happens.